Just because one has that doesn't mean that he should start killing his friends.
I would say both of them are not neither adults nor sensible.
I have to admit that my initial feeling was a total cringe.
He tries to be a Lingsley, is exactly what he says.
It's a rip-off of Frozen. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Photographer Cast. Today I'm here with Pinsel again, and I'm sure that you have noticed that Zootopia is out for quite a while. I mean, Zootopia 2. And we felt that it might be interesting to compare our feelings because we've got to see the movie, both of us. Did you like it, Pinsel?
Oh, personally, as a Lynx, actually I do, but more on that later, I think.
More on that later. Before we continue, I would like to warn that we are going to probably be mentioning spoilers because it's been out for a while. If you haven't seen it yet, do it. It's definitely worth it. If you have already seen it and if you would like to hear our opinions, let's get to them. What were your initial feelings, Pinsel?
Well, the worst part is I kind of knew what plot twists were about to happen because I watched the movie in mid-December and it came out like in November and I had to like 3 weeks avoid any kind of spoilers. So I was kind of guessing who the, let's say, evil part
Villain?
is. Like the villain, yeah, exactly. When you're Lynx, people always or message me at least, oh, they did you dirty and oh, you're the villain, you know that. And I'm like, fuck, darn you. And that was a spoiler. I was not hoping to get them. Just first message in my inbox, like, thank you for giving me this information that I did not ask for, did not want, and did not need. But honestly, the evil part about the villain part about this is quite fascinating to me because Porbert itself is not really coming off as the villain per se, more like a tragic, not even anti hero, but more like a tragic character that, in and
This
on
is actually
itself,
this is actually something that is among my main grips, but maybe we should start with more overall feelings about the movie because we have dived right in. I intended to start in more with overall feelings, which for me would be uh, it's good. It's still pretty much more of the same. We are getting very similar stuff as in Zootopia 1, and this is exactly what most of us wanted, I guess.
it does have a lot of fan service, a lot of references to it, and a lot of, let's just say, things in the movie that just kept the people that watched the movie 12 years ago. Zootopia 1 is similar because it's basically the succession of it. And I think it's what you expect from a sequel. So I wouldn't put much thought into the general feeling of the movie, more like the intricate details that kind of make the movie stand out for what it is. And not just, is it a good movie, is it a bad movie? Like, I can definitely recommend watching it.
For me, it was very much like I was hoping that it will be more fundamentally new, and it wasn't. It's more of the same. There is very little. There is some new stuff, of course. There is obviously the snake. There is the whole lizard quarter, which is very different from what we have seen before. But it feels a little bit like DLC. Like it's not completely different. It's exactly the same kind. When Zootopia 1 came out, it was like, wow, a city that is inhabited just by animals, and they are having their different quarters, and they are having specific gadgets that cater to their different habitats. Like the hippopotamus is having the dryer because they are getting out of water. And I have a feeling that Zootopia 2 focuses very heavily on the interaction between Judy and Nick. And while that's not a bad idea, there was just so much less wow effect for me. It wasn't like, oh, this is something completely new. I'm totally in a furry world I've never seen before. Now it was like, okay, so we are in Zootopia again and let's see what happens.
Yeah, of course, because it is a sequel and it is Zootopia 2. So I would as the same thing with Fast and Furious or Die Hard or Terminator and everything like that. Any movie sequel, basically. I expect the same story, same narrative, same world that has been built up in the first iteration to just continue in the second, third, fourth. Like Final Fantasy 14 is not quite different to Final Fantasy 12.
Hmm. Yeah, that makes sense. I understand your point. Uh, what I want to say is that when I was like reviewing it, mentally reviewing it, I was thinking 80% of the previous one. And the reason isn't that it's bad in any way, or I have my things that I'm not happy about. There is the action, there are, of course, the animals, the furry world, everything. But I've already seen it. It didn't create the kind of hype that I had for the original.
Mostly because this one's not a new concept anymore. And technically, you've already seen everything in the first movie that can't be much extended upon. Because when you introduce new species, for example, lizards, they all just have different variations in their environment, for example. Or let's just say when Zootopia 3, warning spoilers of course, will introduce birds, for example. We will
Uh-huh.
probably see some kind of bird culture living in some kind of sky village, maybe. Maybe they live just above the clouds and are not completely into the regular four temperate zones in the city. You know, like they
Hmm.
have their own unique place of living and they just maybe invaded the Zoomania place where it's
I
like,
think I'm not. I think I'm not going to guess what is going to happen in the next
but
one.
still, in theory, it's still the same setting, still the same place. It's just a sequel.
Sure, sure, sure.
So I wouldn't
Uh,
expect anything new from Zoomania Zootopia 3 as well. So like it will be the same stuff, same thing, and same everything. Also with Judy and Nick, maybe with the special conspiracy theorist Beaver that will make new appearances. Maybe Porbert will have his redemption arc. Maybe Porbert will play a
hopefully not.
huge role in the third part. I hope so, kind of. Like having him redeemed for his actions. And
Yeah,
that
you
would I like
only
kind
want
of
this
see.
because you are a lynx.
Yes.
Uh, uh, you have mentioned that you were pretty much aware who is going to be the villain. I didn't have this information, so I was actually very strongly suspecting the behavior. She was very much so weird that I was expecting when she turns cold, and she never did. It was the treacherous cats as always.
I mean, of course, no, the beaver would have been for me like the, let's just say, the nuisance that kind of ruins a critical moment to cause a plot twist, maybe, like a motivator or catalyst for the story, not necessarily the antagonist. But I kind of expected the snake to have something more evil to do with Porbert, with the Lynx, like they teamed up, and I didn't expect the betrayal between the two. But during the story with the pattern and everything like that, it kind of felt like, yeah, okay, I knew what the spoiler was. I knew Porbert would turn on them. And now I was basically watching the movie, seeing if I get any clues that he actually is evil and has evil intentions from the beginning. But it turned out
Uh,
that he isn't that evil. And the
hmm.
ending scene, this credit scene, also shows that he has potential for a redemption arc, which I kind of expect in the third part.
Well, the movie kind of has three parts, or well, maybe more. There is the opener where Judy and Nick are getting established again. I have to admit that my initial feeling was a total cringe because if there's anything I really hate, is the cliche of the two newbies deciding that they are going to go in or straight into the action without backup, and of course they mess everything up. So I was like, no, I hope that it's not going to be this full of
Mm,
cliches. There is a very nice action scene. I give them that, but the opener was like, if this is going to be like this all the time, then I'm going to be very disappointed.
I mean, it was not established how their relationship as a couple, or let's just say work partners, is. So I was kind of expecting to get have something that goes wrong, but not in the cliche part or cliche version like this. So, hmm, stylistic choice to get the story moving, I guess, and they haven't had any other idea how they would work together, because I definitely would not assume anything harmonic between the two, because the same was in the first episode or first movie. They weren't that harmonic as a partner. It was more like a chance, or let's just say happenstance, how they work together.
Mm, apparently, they have strong feelings for each other. I have to admit that their relationship is one thing. Another thing that is kind of irking me about the movie. They are very heavily pushing the idea of Judy being the impulsive one that is always pushing things together, and Nick being more laid back. And I have a feeling that they have made them kind of one-dimensional. I wanted to
Mm,
say two-dimensional, but that's to, to be expected in case of a movie. Uh,
Yeah,
it
it.
feels like they are
mm,
so heavily trying to communicate the message of their disagreement and the nature of the disagreement that Judy is really, from my point of view, she's unreasonable. She's totally not adult, and I think that she is supposed to be adult. And that was another thing I was not very happy about, because I was like, okay, two sensible people would just talk about this and they would solve it.
I would say both of them are not neither adults nor sensible. Both have their issues that they have to get through, and the issues are so vastly different that they, of course, kind of, let's say, clash with each other. Like, think about the scene where they're climbing up a mountain. It is clear that they kind of have a relationship together, that they like them, each other, but this constant nagging, constantly not really wanting to admit to them having feelings for each other in a friendly manner, maybe even romantic. I don't know. It's a Disney movie. I can only expect them to be romantic at some point in the third part, but they don't really or haven't really felt the need to admit that they have feelings for each other. And this was only resolved in the very end of the movie, where they were like, okay, they do like each other and they do have their miscommunications. And I do feel like that is kind of the story arc that Zootopia 2 wanted to go about. Like, it isn't a Disney movie, it has some kind of, let's just say, fabled message to it. And this was basically it. The first message was more or less coexist because we just can. And watch out for the sheep in the wolf clothing, made wolf in the sheep clothing, like this. No? And the second part is more like we have our differences, we have to get along, and family isn't everything. More like you can't choose your family and you don't have to run for their approval because it will
So,
only
what
end
would
up
you
worse.
say, Nick? What would you say Nick is to be blamed for just not telling Judy his feelings about her? Because when I am to choose sides, I'm rooting for Nick. It's kind of weird, but he feels more adult of the two.
The only problem with Judy is that she tries to overcompensate a lot. She has her issues in the past that she has to constantly prove herself, and she constantly is in a world where she kind of doesn't belong and she knows it. Same with Nick, but in a different perspective, because she's too small, too shy, too timid, too not let's just say respect demanding, if that's the right word for it. And Nick is basically just the, I personally see myself in him as well, because he's just winging it. What modern people say, raw dogging life. That's kind of it with Nick. And both parts have their problems. Like, I think the starting sequence is more the idea of Nick than of Judy. Judy just wants to have it done herself and prove herself, while Nick has his, let's just say, impulsiveness, kind of not thinking things through and just winging it.
Do you feel about it this way? Because, to be honest, I have a feeling that most of the movie it's Nick saying, "Okay, how about we are not idiots?" and Judy saying, "No, we must be idiots. Let's do this." And Nick is like, "Okay, we will do this," and it doesn't work. And then Judy comes with another bold plan, and Nick is like, "How about we are not idiots this time?" And Judy is, "No, we are going to do this." And this is the movie in a nutshell.
She is overcompensating. That's it. And Nick kind of does not want to do that because he himself is, let's just say, afraid of losing Judy, more or less. Like he has feelings for her, whether it's romantically or friendshiply, or friendship wise, I don't know. uh, it doesn't really matter because, as he already stated in the end, then when the resolution basically came about, he just doesn't want to lose her. He just doesn't want her to take the risks. Of course, he would support her in trying to prove herself and show her that she is enough, but he would definitely not um, risk anything that might risk her.
But he's kind of getting dragged along in my point of view. Like he doesn't want to do it, but okay, Judy really insists, so I'm going to do it.
He really has no time to stop her. That's one thing to consider. Like, he would definitely stop her, and he tried to, basically, but every time he did, it fell on deaf ears.
Yeah, that's kind of my point. He seems like the more reasonable one, and that's kind of weird considering their backgrounds. Okay, I think that it's an interesting point. I have to admit that I haven't
Mhm.
thought about the overcompensating part that you mentioned. The fact that she really has to prove herself, and so maybe this is what's driving her forward. So that redeems her to me a little bit. Uh, I think that we can talk about their relationship kind of forever. So let's move forward a little bit to the point where we are having Gary, and Paulbert. Uh, how did you feel about the plot twist? The moment of the betrayal?
If I was not spoiled, I definitely would not have expected it in the slightest. So, if saw the movie without any influence on the fact that the plot twist might happen and Paulbert might be the evil one, or the, let's just say, neglected one from the family that has to prove himself, I would definitely have thought that this whole plot of shipping Gary over and having them do the trip together and everything like that was to actually, let's just say, an ousting, basically ousting his father and having revenge on him that way. Like him trying to get the revenge, as the father also kind of fought in the whole movie until Robert explained himself, that he just wanted revenge on his family for neglecting him, from ousting him, so he wanted to oust them. That was my initial assumption. But his turnaround was, yeah, from the biographical perspective, not unrealistic.
The thing that I have issues with that there doesn't seem to be any foreshadowing. Or have you noticed any? I have a feeling that the reason why the twist is so surprising is that it comes completely out of nowhere. That there is no good reason why he would turn coat at this specific moment. Like he has two friends. I understand that he wants to prove himself to his family that it's definitely very important for him. But then he has found new friends. His plan is moving somewhere. He could have got some gratification, some appreciation, and then he decides to backstep. And there is no sign of foreshadowing before. He doesn't show any signs of heading in this direction. And well, yeah, it
Why
definitely
should
took
he?
me by surprise. Pardon me, but why should I? There are two aspects. One is why should he as a person, and the other one is cinematographic. It feels lazy. It's very easy to make a very surprising plot twist when it comes out of nowhere, when you have no build up to it.
I think a movie captures people by plot twists that are kind of unexpected, but still believable. Like, for example, if you have a plot twist that you basically just expected because it's a common trope, or because, okay, it has to be a plot twist, or it can't be, and it's stupid, and I'm just waiting for something unexpected to happen. I expect the unexpected, that kills the joy out of it. And when the plot twist is too absurd, it also ruins the fun of the movie. And people are like, what? Why would he do that? But when you think about it, especially during the movie, just have the movie as a whole, let's just say one package, you clearly see that he cannot let himself on with any kind of, let's just say, foreshadowing or anything like that. The only thing that he has foreshadowed is that he actually says in the beginning, in his introduction, that he tries to be a Lingsley. That's the only foreshadowing that you get. He tries to be a Lingsley, is exactly what he says. And this kind of lets on that it might be his part or his plan to help his family, but when you're not actively looking and watching the movie, like you really can't, because it's so many information, so much side information that you just lose track of it. But in the second watch, in the second run, you notice that this is exactly what he says. That kind of leads to the point that he has to betray them at some point. And the question is, when should he betray them? He definitely cannot betray them until they find the lighthouse, because without finding the lighthouse with where the patent is stored, he just cannot betray them, because then he would lose his leverage and chance of ever finding the patent anyhow. That means the only, let's just say, chance he gets at betraying them is from finding the lighthouse to holding the patent in their hands. And now's the question, for him at least, from a storytelling perspective, when does he have the chance to actually, let's just say, betray them? When they're all in the tower in uncertain circumstances, and he might have the patent, he might not. Does he have the chance to rip the patent apart? Does he have the chance to, for example, separate a group? He knows that he alone is the one with the advantage and initiative, that he tries to betray them, or at least wants to get rid of the patent, the original one. And right now the group is completely separated. That means he
Mhm.
has the advantage of just having to eliminate one or two persons at a time, and not having to deal with all four of them. As
I'm
if
actually not questioning that moment. It's a good point that you mentioned that he's trying to be a link slip because yeah, that could be considered foreshadowing of a kind. I'm not questioning his like the way he performs it. I was just wondering if you have spotted any sign that it's going to happen. And also, I have a slight issue with the fact that it's a rip off of Frozen. Have you noticed the moment when he stabs Judy and Judy is laying there and crawling to the door? There was exactly the same scene in Frozen where Anna is crawling to the fireplace and there's Olaf outside and talking with her, and here is Gary who is saying, "Oh, I'm freezing, I'm freezing."
it also has references to Shining. It has references to. I don't I have to rewatch it again and write down all the references. I think the whole movie was just, oh, I know this movie, this scene from this movie, and this scene from this movie. You can
There
critique
was a
this
lot
from a
of Easter eggs.
cinematic perspective, definitely.
I'm not opposed to references or to Easter eggs. Those are actually awesome. But this seemed like more like a rip-off. When you look at the scenes, they are so similar.
There are so many. The one with Shining, with the, was it with the? I have to rewatch Shining again, where he
With
basically went crazy. It's is also the reference, direct reference to that, and it could be a bit over the top with all those references in a short succession in such just one movie. Or with the mountain goats, it might also be a bit of a cheap knockoff joke.
There was a lot of such quirks, and I have to say that this is something I absolutely love about Zootopia. How they are playing with the different teams, Zebros.
Mm-hmm.
They serve no purpose in the movie except of always appearing and going Zebros and clapping their hooves,
Yeah,
and then they disappear. And 20 minutes later, it's again Zebros.
yeah, of course. There's so many jokes in the movie that are just, uh, let's just say, low hanging fruit. But you have to remember the movie is meant for the general audiences, where kids and parents watch it together. So the movie makers have to appeal to both target groups that have completely different humors, and have to match it somehow. And this basically is what comes about.
I would just like to mention that until now I was complaining, and now I'm actually praising. I think that these jokes are actually quite hilarious.
Mm-hmm. Joke wise, I also enjoyed it. So I I was definitely entertained for that hour and a half or something like that,
Mhm.
and I can recommend the movie. And I also like the kind of story twist that it had. Like it was not that expected, so it was a good twist, but it was not unbelievable. And when you think about the movie for a while, you can find more and more reasons why the characters acted the way they did, which is good. Because in some movies, especially lower production value ones or just cheap action movies, you just look, okay, the person, horror movies are the worst. The person just runs into the dark room in panic and the group splits up and everybody gets murdered one after another. This is a stupid movie, for example, for me.
Hmm.
While Zootopia has more to their characters. They might appear a bit one dimensional, they have their one core issue that they deal with, but it is just 1.5 hour and they kind of have to put on something to not lose track of all the character developments that one can have.
Okay, do you have two favorite moments from the whole movie?
Hmm, favorite moments. Humor wise, I would think the Hey Bob.
Hey Bob. Hey Bob. Hey Bob is very memorable. I have to admit that I've very much appreciated. I'm not sure if it was a highlight, but I very much appreciated that the mayor in the end wasn't such an idiot. He looked like he has all muscles and no brain, and in the end, he actually did something, and I've really appreciated that, even though it's a little thing.
But he also was manipulated like he was by the Linksleys before. Like, of
I
course,
wouldn't say manipulated. He was more like ordered around.
he was kind of, I think, not smart enough to actually get a hold on what is actually happening. Like,
Yeah, I had that feeling as well.
what was it in
But
a
it was a
moment?
horse.
Yeah, it was not a smart horse. Definitely not.
But he was very muscular. Also,
Mm,
tiger dancers. They were tiger dancers. If they were not there, I would be very disappointed.
yeah, they and Shakira also played the music again or sang the songs
Mhm.
because of course.
Uh, One thing I wanted to open before we sum it up. What do you feel about the way that Ferdum adores Paul Bert? Because to be honest, it puzzles me. He is a psychopathic maniac, a homicidal psychopathic maniac, and everybody is so super excited about him.
It's the furry boyfriend of the week, I think. And when you look back, the bad wolf from what was the movie Bad Boys? Was it Bad Boys? With
I
the
know
bank
what you
robbers?
mean.
What was the name for it? I don't know. He
I
was,
also remember it only in Czech.
yeah. And there's Death, for example, from Puss in the Boots, also recommendable movie. And there's always, whenever a new furry adjacent movie drops, one of the characters gets picked. And especially if they have some kind of prominent role, they typically get this special treatment, to say the least.
I just don't understand the popularity. He's like seriously, he's kind of despicable. He's cute, yeah, he's cute. I give him that. But is that enough?
I think his flawed character, the underdog, the anti-hero characteristics that he can have are kind of the thing that draws people to him. Like he is kind of presented as the awkward, shy, outcast member of his family. He tries to get his reputation within the family up. He tries to prove himself. He kind of tries to have his own redemption, his own justification in his social circle, to put it like that. And he kind of comes off as goofy enough to make it still believable without being like a Jar Jar Binks type of character. So I think this combination makes it.
The funny thing is that Jar Jar Binks is just outright annoying, but as a character, he means well. Whereas Pobert is really cute, and I don't know, I just can't root for him because he's a maniac.
Nobody has to had to say that the fandom only has to like the likable characters. It's probably the fact that he is a maniac that people kind of fascinated about him so much because he has the depth of a character. And when you look at the end scene, he also tries to reconcile with his father still. His father doesn't. His father doesn't care about him, but he himself has this depth that he kind of has the potential for a redemption arc. And this is probably what makes the character so appealing, because everybody can see himself in Porbert more or less than they can in any other of the Linkslays or in the Conspiracy Beaver, for example. Why isn't she the
Yeah,
famous
the
one?
thing is that I can absolutely understand an introvert. I can absolutely understand the issues. But just because one has that doesn't mean that he should start killing his friends. And this is kind of the red line for me. Are you fascinated by him? Do you like him as a character?
I would like to see more of him. I would like to see his story developed in a third part. That's what I'm saying. I kind of hope that this will be untapped potential that they try to make use of. He doesn't have to join the police force. It would be unrealistic.
Awkward.
But
Yeah.
he would probably leave jail at some point. Maybe because of good behavior or something. Maybe he gets released for other reasons, for whatever. Maybe the sentences aren't that long. And then he just does his thing again. Maybe the family breaks out and he takes them with him or whatever.
If you want to see more of him, just open Twitter. You will see a lot of porn.
Of course.
Furries ruin everything.
I have not.
Okay. You have porn?
No, I have not looked it up, but I was just about to check a certain website.
I didn't have to look it up. It found me. Okay, I think that it's about time for us to start wrapping it up. What would be your conclusion about the movie?
First
Just
of
in
all, I
like,
have looked it up. It's 713 entries on a certain website for Pauper. Only 700. I expected more. And general thoughts about the movie, I can wholeheartedly recommend it. And I'm kind of excited for the third episode. Or third sequel. Second sequel?
uh,
Second sequel. What about yours?
okay. Uh, I may sound like I didn't enjoy the movie because I was constantly complaining here. Finally, we have managed to create the dynamic where we don't agree with each other on everything. But despite that, I have very much enjoyed myself. It was a very nice movie. I think it's a must go, must see for furries because it's a furry world. My photo works are about creating a furry world, and this is a high budget movie that makes it a reality. So definitely go there.
It is recommendable indeed.
So that's all for today. Thank you everybody for listening. We are on YouTube and on Spotify. We would very much like to hear your opinions because I'm pretty sure that you will have some. So please put them into the comments. And we are looking forward to you on in 2 weeks. I am Farsi Photo.
And I'm Pinsel. Hello. Oh, goodbye in that case.
Let's try it again. I am Farsi Photo.
And I'm Pinsel. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Was I distracted? Maybe. Maybe I was distracted. Who knows?